Hey everyone, and welcome to this first video that I am going to make on Grim Dawn. So Grim Dawn is a very cool ARPG game. It's kind of like Titan Quest if you have played that as a kid. I did play that as a kid, and so this is very nostalgic to me. We have finally just beaten the game. I'll put the final boss fight of the game at the end of this video, and just to show the tankiness and the damage of the character. I wanted to make a character that doesn't use summons, but still is very tanky. So as you can see, I have 22,600 life, which is great. I have a whole bunch of health regen, which makes me super sustainable. Most of the very hard fights I can kind of tank through. One thing I would like to increase on this character is my hit chance, and then that would increase my crit chance. That's kind of a little bit not great. And there, as you can see, the last attack is the final boss of the game. So the character that we've gone with is a combination of the soldier and the demolitionist. I always have a hard time saying demolitionist for some reason. Anyway, so the reason that we chose soldier is just because of the tankiness buff. So the military conditioning, the health, regen, constitution, armor, there's some slow resistance for 1 point there that I took. Took field commander for offensive and defensive and armor, attack speed, and all that stuff. And then we're using Warcry as an utility just to reduce the defenses, and it's good in like a whole group of mobs to just like reduce the health of the entire mob. Let's call it horde of mobs. And then we're just taking this for Terrify, reduce resistances. Since we're doing mostly fire damage, reducing resistances helps out with that. Then these are just easy 1 points, extra benefits for reduced defensive abilities and slower attacks. So our main attack ability is going to be the Fire Strike of the Demolitionist. We are just taking basically everything on this, and since we're using a two-handed ranged weapon, we take the top 3 points here for more crit and damage. So yeah, just take all of those, taking all of the flame touched, and then I only took one level of temper because this mostly gives us physical damage and um, yeah, I was focusing on fire damage. You can take more of this if you want. I just was wanting to spend more points in defensive and utility. The other thing that I took here is Blast Shield. So as you could see currently, as I have it, it gives us 6 max ores whenever this triggers when you drop below 60% health. I wanted to get as much max res as we can, so that's why I took it. I didn't put the last level in it because as you can see, it doesn't increase our max res if I put another level in it. So you just play around depending on how many +2 demolitionist levels you have on your gear. You can take more or less of this, just respec it as you need. Then I use Thermite Mine. I mostly just use this for the minus elemental resistances. And then this is just the, you know, value point +1 to make a little bit more burn damage for that. And at the end of the playthrough, I started using Flashbang. That was just because I don't know, I kind of wanted an extra utility thing, and it was just 1 point in each, just for reduced defenses, and another one that uses fumble and misses us. This one is very strong. It's kind of weird since we're a ranged character, but we are so tanky that we kind of face tank a lot of things in this game, and this gives us the ability to kind of use that face tank to damage return, retaliate basically. And this gives us some lifesteal for the retaliate damage that we do. So I really like this. Depending on what your playstyle is, you may not invest as much in this and rather go for Granado. Um, Early game, by the way, I leveled with only a few levels in Fire Strike, some in Explosive Strike, and then I pretty much max Granado and High Impact because this clears mobs insanely quickly. And yeah, it's just it's very nice to use. As soon as you get to level 50 as a demolitionist, I take this, it gives us the fragments, the split basically on our attack, and then I unspect all of this. So it's up to you, but I didn't feel the need for Granado anymore since our clear is good enough with the retaliate. The retaliate kind of like affects multiple targets, and then the split shot with Brimstone. So as soon as you can get level 50 in this, I think you should drop Granado. Our health regeneration is pretty high. It's 1,400 per second. And then obviously we have some lifesteal and some retaliate lifesteal on top of that for extra sustain. And yeah, obviously if you play hardcore, make sure you always have cap resistances, 80 of everything. Physical resistance is going to be hard for you because you need to get gear with physical resistance on it, or you have to have a class that has physical resistance on it, and our combo with the Commando does not. So just get that as high as you can. So you'll see with my gear, so I'm just going to go over it a little bit. I'm not super happy with this weapon. I would love to have one that does more fire damage. This one converts just to elemental. But the only reason I took it is because of all the fire strike um, effects that it gives us, and it was the highest DPS one that I've dropped so far. None of my gear are set items. Obviously, you can make this character amazingly much better with set items. I just did this as a fresh start. No, um, everything I have here is I basically dropped with this character. I really like this set, this Laziers, the lazy Laziers thing. I really like that ring and the crest because of the maximum resistances it gives us. Maximum resistances in this game is, as in most games, is very strong. Because that 4% extra you get or 3% extra gives you a lot more mitigation than just 3%. It actually makes it so instead of 20% of the damage, you actually take 17%, and that is like if you do the math, 17 out of 20 is a higher percentage than just 3%. It's like 15% less damage, just a rough calculation. But yeah, so the main stats that I looked for on my gear was physical damage resistance, health, and then fire damage if I could get it. Otherwise, I just focused to cap my resistances and get health regeneration as much as I can. So that's pretty much it for my gear. It's mostly just, as I said, off the ground, nothing super special. Um, then obviously a reminder to put on components on your gear as soon as you get a new piece of gear. You don't always have to craft the best one in out there, but just make sure you get one on to just min max your character because obviously hardcore, if you die, your character's gone. So um, yeah. Then if you get revered status with some of these factions, where's one?
I'll give you a good price
Just
for
make
one of
sure
those
you
left.
check through the augments that they have. Some of them can be very powerful depending on what build you're going for. Some of them are very good for resistances, some of them are great for damage. You can just add them on all of your gear pieces as soon as you get them. So I'm going to stop for a second on the helmet. The helmet, I feel like you should always go and get the helmet that fills your resistances from I think it's Crony's
That's
hideout.
good
Let me
use.
just check that for us. So you're going to go to this one right here, the four, what does that say? Flower Hills. It's the Crony's hideout rift. You just kill all the mobs in there. They have a very high chance to drop one of these helmets. They also drop shoulder pieces if you want to use those. Those are great because they have fire strike on them. So it's a way for you to get more damage on a piece of gear that can potentially have health and resistances for you. Um, and then I went for Annihilation as my mythical relic. There are, I guess, a few that are alright, but I feel like Annihilation's easy to come by. It's not, the ingredients aren't rare. And yeah, just make it as soon as you can on level 60. and you'll be set for the rest of the game. I went for the emblem, the disengage on my medal. That's this ability to disengage. I initially had the leap one, but then I figured that you can run and do kind of like this movement thing to kind of boost you through the zones. So essentially you can dash and then just put your cursor at the back of your character while you're holding it in, and it turns it around quickly so you can go move quickly through the zones. And disengage is good for us as we're ranged, so we can keep on attacking while we're jumping out of the, um, I guess, the fight. A look at is just our devotions. We went mostly defensive here and some attack speed and crit and resistances. The major ones that I would like to point out is just we went for the Tree of Life, took the entire one here, gives us a lot of defense, regen, and health. Then we went for the Light of the Empyrean, and this one gives us some damage. So this is one of the only damage ones that we end up going with. Moving away from that noise. Um, and then here we went for the Keeper of the Waters. This is just more health resistances, and then the ability to slow. Then this one, some of these are the smaller ones are just to fill our requirements for us to take the big celestial, I guess, things. I don't know what you call them. The affinity things, just to get our minimum requirements. The biggest thing that I went for the smaller ones is physical resistance because I just wanted to be as tanky as possible. So we went for Lotus, went for Eel, Triad, Brain, Lizard, and then the Sailor Guide. And then the last one, the last two is I went for the Kraken. Kraken I feel like is just super strong because of the attack speed and life. It's just a very good utility one. The more physical resistance on that as well. And then our last one that we went for is the Phoenix here. The reason we went for the Phoenix is just to get more damage. So it's crit, mostly it's elemental damage, it's some health resistances, and then this one just gives us burn and flat fire damage. I didn't take this one very early. As you can see, it's not maxed out yet, but if you want to maybe do some more achievements to fill out your um, reputations, you can get all of those maxed out. Yeah, so I'm very happy with this character. I was able to get a lot of the achievements that I've always wanted to get with the hardcore modes. I'll still go through the Steam achievements list just to make sure that I did actually complete everything on hardcore mode. So I see like this is one that I still have to do. So I'll go back and do that. But I just wanted to make this video to show you guys my character that I was very happy with. And yeah, I'll show you the fight of the final boss of the game. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Man, that was crazy. Finally got him. I'm actually so happy I was able to do this. I had no idea what to expect coming into this. My first time trying him on ultimate difficulty and hardcore actually on top of that. So yeah, I'm just really happy that I was able to get this done.